What do you think about when you hear the term attribution? Most people said when they hear the term attribution, they hear about marketing. They think about marketing attribution, marketing touch points, marketing first touch, marketing last touch, marketing. But attribution at its core is about the entire funnel, marketing and sales.
It's Attribution Nation time, where we look at attribution from multiple angles in a unique mini-series format. Our first 5 episodes are all about attribution history. Let's go! Our guest on today's podcast is Emir Atli. Emir is one of the 3 founders of Hockeystack, which is the youngest company in our first mini-series here, where we're talking about the history of attribution companies. He and his co-founders dropped out of college and started Hockeystack in 2020, which is awesome. I love that. So, Emir, let's go back in time, back to, before you even started Hockeystack, you and your co-founders identified a problem around, B2B campaign ROI. You're 3 guys in college. How did you even find this problem as people in college? That's kind of a unique viewpoint for somebody in college. How did you get there?
When we first started, Hockeystack wasn't Hockeystack. It wasn't like about attribution or B2B marketing at all. So when we first started, we had another startup with one of my co-founders and now CEO. We have known each other for the last 8 years. We have been best friends ever since. And we built a lot of startups. The last startup that we had was a mobile app, a viral kind of app, like Instagram, where there were like a lot of pages and buttons and profile, all that stuff. And our problem was we were going viral and a lot of people were downloading it and using it. And our problem was retention. So my co-founder built us a simple dashboard where we could track kind of users and which features they're using and overall their retention. And we were trying to understand which features are leading to higher retention rates. And then we kind of came up with the idea that if we could give insights with this using AI or something, that like these features lead to this conversion rate or this retention rate on the product side, people would be interested in. And then long story short, that didn't work out because that market is already super crowded, heap, mixed panel, amplitude, a lot of really, really good products. And quickly we started developing other products on the side because we knew that like that mobile app was fun and all that good stuff, but it's not like a long-term thing. And then we started building a website analytics product that was like a extension of the current product that we had. We were able to use out of the the database, the code that we built the product analytics tool with for the website analytics part. It's just the same script that goes to the website, tracks all the data, and it was a simple Google Analytics alternative. So that really got good traction. People started liking it, using it, paying money for it. And over time, it became clear to me that that market is like SMB, $9 per month. It's not what I want to build and what my co-founders want to build. We want to build an enterprise software. And our ICP was primarily agencies and e-commerce businesses. And on the e-commerce side, Shopify and Wix, all those platforms have their internal website, kind of like analytics platforms, and they're good enough and free. So we started developing more like hypotheses around who can be our ICP for this product. And then we started talking to SaaS people. And then after hundreds of interviews and people in our network started telling us like we needed a platform to bring everything together, showing the buyer journey, and we were only getting the website data and no integrations at that time. Then we started building that and then developing it, got our first couple of customers, and then pivoted once again to Hockeystack. And then this is like last year, December or something. So we started getting our first customers to actual Hockeystack, what it looks like today. And then from there, we started scaling really quickly. So we got into YC, raised around from like top 10 investors like General Catalyst, Soma Capital, and others. And then some of the largest B2B SaaS organizations right now are using Hockeystack. And we just said today, one of them, they recently signed up. So that's how it went. It wasn't like we want to build B2B attribution. This is the problem. It was more like exploring the problem while building other products. I think the best thing that we did was sticking to one industry, which is analytics. We only focused on data. And over time, I think we found our niche and we found a space where we could innovate. And we did really well in it, and we're still innovating.
That's such an interesting journey because it sounds like you all pivoted like 3, 4, 5 different times on the path to what eventually became Hockeystack. I mean, you went from social media and You went from to adding on a platform that tells you how people are using the product inside the product, and then just another iteration, another iteration, another iteration, and then next thing you know, HockeyStack is born. That's a really cool, interesting journey.
Yeah, I think that's a unique advantage for our team. We talk to a lot of people. We know all parts of the business, how each department inside the organization thinks about analytics. So it was a unique advantage that we got from that journey, which was really hard, but like right now, it's well worth it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So you didn't start out starting with this problem. You kind of worked your way towards, wow, we see we're fixing all these other problems, and then we saw this as like an even bigger problem. Okay, we're going to go fix that. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
very cool, very interesting. So when you started Hockey Stack at that time, you had some competitors in the industry. Some of them had been in the industry for a while. How did you think about the state of B2B attribution at the time that you started Hockey Stack?
We didn't really care about the competition that much. Honestly, for a very long time, I've never looked into what anyone is doing or like what they're doing, what they're launching, what their website looks like, or anything like that. Until recently, I like focused on it more. What we thought was this industry is not that crowded. Most people think that the attribution space is super crowded, but when you look into it, there's only visible as like a very large legacy attribution platform. When in fact, in other categories, like if you look into sales tech, it's like SalesLoft, Outreach for email. There's now Apollo. There's now ZoomInfo has some capabilities. There's like Lucia, Cognizant, and like it's super crowded. When you look into product analytics, as I told you, there are a lot of really good products. In attribution, I think it's still a new market, and people, especially B2B marketers, are still trying to understand what even attribution means. So we saw a big gap in this market where we could go and develop faster than anyone else, develop a like a better product. We thought that that would be enough to get the initial traction, and we would, by building a better product and starting great marketing, we would be able to succeed. And then by shaking things up in this category, you would go into other categories and expand the product, which we are doing right now. In a couple of weeks, we are announcing two other products on top of our baseline attribution platform. So this was always our plan from the beginning, shaking things up in the attribution space and then expanding the product into other teams. I think it's still a newer category. I see new competitors to HockeyStack bidding on our brand name every single day. Now, like even 2 days ago, I saw a new competitor. They made a HockeyStack versus competitor name landing page, and
Oh, wow. Okay.
they're calling HockeyStack as a legacy attribution platform. So it's still a really new category that everyone can still innovate, which I'm super excited about.
Yeah. Okay. So I like that you were just like, look, we're just focused on what we do and just being the best that we can be. Like we don't care what our competitors do. We're just going to do kick ass work of our own. I think so. I want to get to. We're going to talk about your marketing in just a minute. I also want to talk about this announcement that you have coming up in 2 weeks. Whatever you can tell us, that'd be cool. And then also, I mean, by the time anybody listens to this episode, the announcement will be public anyway. So the other thing is, I just want to say real quick, that had to be a feel good moment for you and your co-founders to see that now other people are trading on the Hockey Stack name and saying, "Hey, we're trying to live up to this is how we compete with Hockey Stack." That has to be like a really feel good moment. Like we kind of made it, right?
Yeah, it's been a long time since like we had competitors, but this is the first time that we are now called that as the legacy attribution platform, which made me even happier because if you're the legacy attribution platform, then it's like people are trying to replace Hockey Stack in a short amount of time, and they're seeing us as like a visible, which is a company that I really admire and really admire the work that they have done. Really a proud moment. For your question about the other products that we are launching, and this also goes back to kind of like this podcast's main reason how everyone sees attribution. So this comes from like how we see attribution. If you want to dive deep into that right now, I can do it, or I can save it to you.
We've got a point. We've got to, yeah, we're going to come back to that in just a moment. But I still want to talk a little bit more about early stage stuff. So So Hockey Stack is born. You're getting started. Was there anything when you first started out that like you really learned from your early customers, like anything that you thought might be like really important but wasn't, or that you didn't think was important that turned out to be super important? Like, what were some of those key learnings that you had early on?
Yeah, something that I'm still surprised about is for a very long time, attribution is still like right now, every day I see posts about attribution. Majority of those posts and most of our customers, still to this day, most of our prospects, we still need to educate them on this. Most of them saw attribution as something like influence revenue only to show something to sales rather than making decisions with the data. But in its core, attribution is only about getting the data, collecting the data, clearing the data, and showcasing it in different ways with different models so that you can understand what's working, what's not working, and make decisions based on the data. And most people, when we onboard them, it was like, yeah, okay, now let's show the sales how much revenue we influence. I'm like, that's good, and we will do that. But like, why don't we focus on the low hanging fruit so you can say, we changed these things, and now we're driving this much revenue, and we are more efficient. So it's always surprising to me, and still to this day, some of it is I think for like engagement. Attribution is a hot topic, and if you say attribution doesn't work or attribution is that or things like that, it's a little bit misleading, but still gets you the engagement. So I think that's a cool way to like build a brand and to have awareness. But I think it has serious implications of day-to-day marketers in their work because they're looking for ways to understand what's working, what's not working, so that they can do their jobs better and hopefully not get laid off. And then all the time they are hearing that the thing that they want to rely on is not about understanding what's working, what's not working. So most of the time, in the early days, it was even worse, where we would see marketers on the demo calls, just like desperately looking for ways to understand what's going on with their deal, like buyer cycles. That was the biggest thing.
Yeah, I tell you, I work with a lot. I mean, we work with a ton of organizations on attribution. I mean, that's the focus of our company. And when we see organizations that are using attribution really, really well, it's because they are focusing on how do I do better marketing. They're not trying to use this as a hey sales, look what we're doing. That's not what they're doing. The people that are successful with attribution use it to just do better stuff, to get better results, to find what's working, do more of that, find what's not working, and stopping that stuff. Like that's how this is supposed to be used. So I agree wholeheartedly on that. So let's talk a little bit about kind of like where you guys have come from now, and where you guys came from and where you are now. What are some of the things that have kind of evolved about the Hockey Stack product? What are some of the things that have changed?
So we launched new models. That's the biggest thing that customers are using right now, machine learning models and lift reports. Lift reports are showing you kind of like the baseline conversion rate and how different initiatives are increasing that conversion rate, while attribution models give credit to touch points. So we are using lift reports to validate attribution. So if attribution shows you this initiative is really important, is it really like the most common touch point, or is it actually driving incremental sales? So that's the biggest thing. We launched market mix modeling for like larger media investments for larger companies. So we have one of the biggest differentiators of using Hockey Stack versus other platforms is we have a custom dashboard builder where any marketer can go in and build a new dashboard without relying on BI tool. In the beginning, it was tables, number reports, then funnels. Now we have bar charts, lift reports, forecasts, pie charts, and then line charts and more breakdowns and more support for custom Salesforce instances and HubSpot instances. So you can use pretty much any property that's available to use on your platforms, match it with any other property from another platform, and then match it with the website, and then build a report with breakdowns and goals. So we really put a lot of emphasis on the custom dashboard building side because what we've seen from our customers is they don't want to rely on a single like a templates pre-built by a
Yeah.
vendor, because then if you need something else, you need to rely on your data team, and that's like data team has a lot of things to do. So we'll put a lot of emphasis on the custom dashboard side and the like UX side of things. Another thing is we like integrations. Yeah, not recently, but in the early days, we launched reverse IP lookup, like company identification things with our data partners.
Okay.
Yeah, and the journeys change a lot. So in the beginning, we were showing journeys as like lines, different lines. We changed it to a calendar view because we saw that most
Oh,
people
okay. Okay.
want to take a screenshot and send it to someone else. With line charts, it's really hard, but with a calendar view, they can take a screenshot and send it to someone else. And we also have a list view where you can go into the details and click on to see like what each action means and what they did on the website.
So I want to ask you a follow up question on the lift reports. So, and I think I'm gonna make an assumption here as to what I think they are, and then you can obviously correct me. So, a lift report, is that a report that I would use to say, hey, I want to understand how, for example, an investment in display, which is usually tracking, which is usually just views, right? Which it's difficult to track views and view through attribution, how an investment in display has lifted other channels like direct and organic search. Is that what a lift report is, or am I misunderstanding that?
Exactly. Yeah, that's the use case. But like for example, thought leadership ads. One thing that we have been doing is like thought leadership ads on LinkedIn. Most people don't click on them, but if they engage with it, our website conversion rate increased by I think 6-7x. So that's something that we are using lift reports for. Thought leadership ads. So people trust us more. Or baseline website conversion rate is 5%. If we show display ads, it's increasing it to 6-7%. And what kind of ads, campaigns, events are driving us more conversions by increasing the baseline conversion rate? Or another really good example is if you launch a new campaign, let's say you got 15 conversions, let's say brand new campaign you launched 3 weeks ago. With attribution, it's not going to come up on the report because there's not enough data on it and there's not enough like touch points, not enough deals to give credit. But lift report can show you this campaigns in this time frame increase the baseline conversion rate by X%. So people coming from this campaign is 2x more likely to convert into a deal, especially for newer campaigns, for campaigns that are harder to understand with attribution, or if you want to validate attribution, that's a really good way to showcase it.
Okay. Okay. I love this concept of lift reports. So for folks that are listening that want to understand like a direct application of this, here's the challenge that this solves for. So number one, we talk to clients all the time that are on things like Rollworks and 6sense and Demand Base. And those are all display ads. And as we all know, click rates on display ads are minuscule. They're barely anything. So they tend to not show up well in an attribution platform. But we know that they're having an impact. We just can't show it through a direct click. So 6sense, Demand Base, Rollworks, they have their view through attribution that's inside their platform that tells you that somebody viewed this ad and then they went to your website and then they converted into an opportunity. And that's how they're telling you the value of their advertising. Well, we know that that's a little generous, but we also know that the direct conversion methodology is a little bit on the low end. It's underreporting. We know that there's some truth that's in the middle there. This lift report is going to help you find that truth that's in the middle because it's helping you understand the indirect impact that 6sense, Demand Base, and Rollworks have had on other channels like direct traffic to your website, organic search traffic to your website, and so on. So it's a really, really big and important use case for folks that are on things like 6sense and Demand Base.
Yeah, totally.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Okay, now you and Hockeystack have a huge presence on social media. You all do a lot on LinkedIn, probably more than any of the others that I've worked with or spoken with, other than maybe Dream Data. Dream Data does a lot on LinkedIn and on social media as well. But you also have a unique thing about Hockeystack where you've kind of started building this kind of like media organization. Tell us a little bit about how you came up with the idea to do that, what was the process like, and how that has impacted your organization, and like how do you track the value of all of this?
Yeah, so from the very early days, me and my co-founder, we have been very active on LinkedIn, and the thought process was really simple. People in our industry hang out here all the time, so if they see us over and over again, And if you promote hockey stack at some point, if they see us for a long enough time, they would trust us. And hopefully they would convert. And it came out to be true. And after like spending a lot of time on LinkedIn and creating a lot of content, I thought like if you want to see a specific type of content that I did 2 or 3 weeks ago, you would need to scroll through LinkedIn and find that content and then read it again. Or like sometimes I remember content from some person, I don't know, when they posted it. I want to check it out again. It's like really hard to find it. So I thought like, what if we did a landing page, screenshots of our LinkedIn posts, our blog posts, our podcast, everything on a landing page and just like test it. We did it, I think like it was more maybe like 9 months ago, 8, 9 months ago. It was like the very first MVP version of it. And then it was great. It was like we had a positive reaction to it. It was like really basic, just like built on HTML, CSS landing page. And then over time, and then at the same time, we hired Obed, who's now our head of content, and he was building the same thing for his agency with Todd Clauser, now at Audience Plus, before Lavender. So they were building the same thing, and our vision was the same. And I thought, like, come here and then build it for me. And he said, yeah, cool. And then we start building it. And over time, we thought, like, influencer partnerships has been a really good part of our strategy, but it's really hard to create content with an influencer because most of the time people understand it as a paid post and they don't want to read it. If you have a podcast like this, it's like you can't have one person over and over again every month. And we thought if they want to build a show, if they want to create a show, podcast, series, whatever, let's help them build it. We edit everything. We launched on our landing page. We promoted ourselves. They promoted as well, and then we help them. Like we give them a platform. And if people want to check it out again, they can check it out on our landing page, which is super easy to do. They're like different series. And then we did that. We started doing it. It worked well. There are lots of challenges with it, especially on the editing and production side. There are lots of challenges with it. Still, there are challenges. And then we started launching kind of like our own internal podcasts and shows about the product. For example, we have Can You Dashboard, where Nate from our team is building a dashboard with Hockeystack in 90 seconds. Things like this where it's like not super promotional, but in the same time, you're getting exposed to Hockeystack. So that was the idea. It worked well. It's still a really essential part of our strategy. But the thought process was really simple. If you want to learn more about Hockeystack, how can we create a rabbit hole for you to like check out our content all in one place whenever you want? And we see like when I check out account-based journeys, for example, if you close a deal, it's usually they come to the website, they like don't do anything for 2 weeks, they come back again, they check out the flow, they spend like maybe a few hours on the flow checking out some stuff over like 2 months, and then they come back again and then book a demo. So it's like not the last point or first point, but it's in the middle where you're trying to understand, is this company worth my time? Can I trust these people? What they do, or like who works here, who is trusting these people kind of phase, where right in the middle, it's a really good rabbit hole where people can spend more time with us. Core metric that I'm measuring is how much time people spend with us on our website, on LinkedIn, on like everywhere else we are present on. How I'm measuring it is on LinkedIn, we are measuring it with clicks. With self-report attribution, we have reports with self-report attribution. For flow, it's basically similar to attribution, where we check out the journeys, attribution models, lift reports. We have a lift report for our flow and live demo on the website, the interactive demo. So yeah, that's how. And then some of our customers recently started analyzing active campaigns. A great example, they have been active on LinkedIn for a while too. They're also using their Hockeystack customer, and with Hockeystack, they're using marketing mix modeling to understand LinkedIn's influence.
Okay.
That's another way.
Okay. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah. So it sounds like part of the measurement strategy, though, is getting them off LinkedIn onto your own web environment that hosts all of the content, which makes it, one, easier to find the historical content that people are looking for, but two, it also makes it much more trackable because you're getting it onto your own environment. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. Another metric to that point that we are measuring is kind of like over week is our ICP checking out the flow and spending time on the website. So mid-market, upper mid-market enterprise companies, how many of those are spending time on the flow and on the website, and how many of them are coming from LinkedIn?
Got it. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of the content that you guys are creating through that. One of your guys that you work with is an old coworker of mine, Tim Davidson, from when I was over at Directive. So yeah, I've been keeping an eye on what you guys have been doing because of Tim.
Yeah, this is
Um,
exactly what I mean. So you trust Tim, Tim
yeah,
trusts us. If Tim trusts HockeyStack, I can trust HockeyStack too. It's the connection that
yeah,
people
exactly.
have in their minds.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so let's talk a little bit more about attribution generally. So you said in a recent post that attribution isn't dying, it's evolving. So what tell us a little bit about that and what's the evolution of attribution that you're seeing right now?
Yeah, as I said in the beginning, attribution traditionally meant credit, marking credit, last touch credit, first touch credit. And when most people say attribution, they mean credit. We actually recently did a survey using Winter, 50 CMOs, mid-market, upper mid-market enterprise. What are your top concerns about attribution, and what do you think about when you hear the term attribution? Most people said when they hear the term attribution, they hear about marking. They think about marketing attribution, marketing touch points, marketing first touch, marketing last touch, marketing. But attribution at its core is about the entire funnel, marketing and sales, how they play together. The entire funnel, not just first touch or last touch. The main top concerns: one, can we cover all the touch points? What if you're missing touch points? Two, how complex is the setup going to be and how easy it's going to be to use? Three, how are we going to build customized new reports because we are not using MQL SQL stages, which most vendors are trying to force, or it's harder to customize it with your custom objects. So this is exactly what I mean. Attribution, one, attribution doesn't mean giving credit. It's about understanding the journey. Two, attribution needs to be customizable for each business. Each business should have their own instance and be able to customize their instances, because at the end, if you want to get insights, but if you have a pre-built template, how are you going to get insights? Because it's not built for you. You cannot customize it. You cannot change filters, choose your own properties. So it's limiting your ability to get insights. And at the end, people are relying on attribution platforms to get the credit. And third, attribution needs to cover all the touch points. So in my mind, attribution at its core is getting all the data, cleaning it, measuring it, showing in different ways, and being able to customize it for your own purposes, getting insights so that you can do your job better. Attribution is a tool to do your job better and help sales close more deals, at the same time proving out marketing's value. With HockeyStack, because it's totally customizable and flexible and easy to implement, while other tools are harder to implement, not customizable, built on templates, it's easier to get insights. That's the primary hypothesis that we built on HockeyStack on. Transparently, we're charging 3x more than our closest competitor, no free trial, because we trust the tool so much. And it's a premium solution built for mid-market, upper mid-market enterprise. You need to have certain level of data. But if you hit our ICP, you will get tremendous insights from HockeyStack. And it's unmatched to any other platform because of these things that I mentioned earlier. Now, if you come to the next products that we are launching, the new product lines, I think that attribution is powering ABM. Attribution is a source for sales insights. Attribution is the source for signal-based selling. All those things that are really top of mind for everyone. So attribution, HockeyStack's base platform, we built an ABM suite and we built a sales suite. So the sales suite will help AEs and SDRs see the journey highlights, customize their messages, send accounts with intent scoring back to their engagement platforms, and report on it with HockeyStack as well. So these are the accounts that have high intent on the website, G2, LinkedIn ads, third-party keyword research, any other signal that we have. Plus, you can give us your sources as well. We are getting the data, comparing it with previous journeys of close one accounts, scoring the accounts, giving you the journey highlights, and allowing you to customize your message and prioritize accounts with that. On the APM suite, we're able to get the audiences. So if you have a custom audience or account list, we're able to get it, compare it with our data set for intent, send it to display, linked nets, and any other platform that you want to send the audience back to. Report on all the data with impressions, clicks, and everything else. And then we also allow you to build audiences within Hockeystack right now. It's going to come up in a few weeks. These are two different products built on top of our base platform, and some of our customers are actually using it right now, which I'm super excited about. As I said, instead of seeing attribution as giving credit to different teams or different touch points, I see it as the foundation of your go-to-market strategy. And these are all extensions of the data that we're collecting and the base platform that we have.
Okay, very interesting. Very interesting. So it sounds to me like you're kind of branching attribution into two different branches here. So one is looking at attribution and the data that's collected by the attribution platform as another form of like intent signals, and using those intent signals and passing those to sales to help sales understand, hey, these people are super engaged. Here's what they're engaging with, and allowing sales to enhance their outreach strategy based on the intent signals that Hockeystack is capturing. Is that a fair encapsulation of that piece?
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. And then on the other side, you're then taking the data that you're collecting and helping to orchestrate that back out to other platforms to help those platforms and help optimize those platforms like display platforms and AdWords and things like that, so that they can understand, hey, those platforms can optimize based on what's working better based on what Hockeystack's telling them. Is that another fair encapsulation there?
Exactly. And you can build audiences. So if you want to send an audience back to display ads and then optimize it, you can send the audience from Hockeystack, run it, optimize, and analyze it on Hockeystack again.
Very cool. Very cool. I mean, I think that's really interesting ways of using attribution data, because it, again, really what it comes down to is attribution data is first party data about how people are engaging with you. You can choose to use that for reporting, or you can choose to use that for intent signals. It's still the same data, and it works both ways. So I think it's a really smart idea, really, honestly.
It's
Looking forward to seeing more about it.
Yeah, it's really interesting when people mention, for example, signal-based selling is a feature of outbound. And then signal-based selling is a feature of outbound, but attribution is bad. In signal-based selling, what are the metrics that you're looking for? Like, what are the signals that you're looking for? One, website. Two, G2 intent, whatever intent platform that you're using, sales engagement, product engagement. And what is the platform that are getting all those insights and showing you on dashboards? Attribution platform.
Right? Attribution platform,
So
yeah.
where are these signals are coming from for intent-based, like signal-based selling? Super simple.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's first party data, so it's very well, mostly first party data. So it's very trustworthy. Like, you're not going out and getting third party data from who knows where. Like, it's mostly stuff that's happening on your website and engagement with events and things like that. So very trustworthy data. Yeah.
Yep.
So looking into the future and looking into where attribution is going, obviously you guys are making a bet on using attribution, expanding attribution's use cases throughout the organization. What are some other things that you think are going to be coming to enhance and advance attribution over the next 3 to 5 years?
Yep. So end of Q2, probably end of the second quarter, we'll be launching another core product feature that we have been working for a lot of months, even like a year maybe, which is gonna be the insights portion of the product. We have been using the latest technology, and the technology is always changing and helping us do it better. I think for the next step in the attribution journey is getting the core insights, low hanging fruits with AI.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate to say AI powered or anything like that, but I think that's the very like the lowest hanging fruit in the attribution journey, and it's gonna enable so many marketers to do their jobs better without analyzing the data themselves. That's one of the most important things, and one of the most the biggest things that we are focusing on, and we have been focusing on for a while. And then the other thing is, I think, how can we in the attribution platform. So like overall attribution category, how can we use attribution to get marketing closer to sales? And Sixth Sense and Demand Base, they have done a great job at that. But I think we still have a little bit more work to do, which is like one of the biggest things that we hear from customers is sales doesn't believe in marketing and the leads that we are bringing on. So one of the core dashboards that our recent batch of customers, the last 10 customers, asked for is actually a list of this, really funny, but it's true. A list of leads that marketing has sent to sales, and like a yes no column if they reached out to them, engaged with them at all, and what's the percentage of leads that marketing is sending that sales is actually connecting with. Because most of the time sales is not engaging with marketing leads because they don't believe in marketing, like inbound leads. So how can we use attribution to get marketing closer to sales so that they can work together and be aligned? It's not like just showing a sales work on those deals, but like showing getting deals, getting leads that sales needs to work on and why, with actual metrics and actual benchmarks. And two, how can we make it easier for sales to engage with those deals? So I think the next evolution of Hockeystack is an attribution category is getting closer to sales. And then second is there's a recent initiative that worked really well for us is how can we get the CMO to use Hockeystack? And now most of our customers bring Hockeystack to their board meetings, which is great for us and great for the CMO and great for the board, and better visibility for the board and board of directors and C-suite into marketing with the metrics they can understand. So if anyone is curious, you can go to our live demo. You can check it out. We have a CMO review dashboard where this is an actual dashboard that we built for our customers and they build it for themselves. An actual dashboard that I'm using month to month for our investors.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, I think that AI, and I hate to just be somebody else that's just jumping on the bandwagon of AI, but I think AI is going to be really important to your point about getting to insights more quickly because you have folks in marketing, and this is I'm saying this not as a knock on anybody in marketing, but you have marketers that come from backgrounds like literature and copywriting and creative disciplines, and attribution is it's data science. It really is. It's a complex data set. And if you haven't flexed math muscles, and I mean like serious math muscles, in a long time because you're focused on other things, it's difficult to get those insights. It's difficult to understand where should I be looking and what types of math should I be using to analyze this data. Whereas AI, you're going to be able to plug the data into AI, and AI is going to be able to tell you, hey, this campaign is performing 20 times better than this other one over here, or this campaign over here has been running for 3 months and it has done literally nothing. Stop running that campaign. That is invaluable to marketers. I think that those types of things are just that's what marketers want. They don't want to come in and have to do hours of math. They want to come into a platform that tells them, hey, this campaign sucks. Stop running it.
Yeah, I feel like there's going to be a branch of revenue operations powered by AI and just like automations, just going to be able to like direct those initiatives within marketing and sales. And I also see like most of our customers use our customer success team as like a partner in the strategic initiatives and helping them with their data set, especially with really large volumes of data, and using our benchmarks to compare and see, like, for example, January has been a low month. Is it for everyone else or is it just for us? Kind of like those insights. In total, that like partnership side, I think is going to move to AI and automations. And I see a branch of revenue operations team. And of course, agencies like yours, where it's like a strategic partner who's helping you guide like through marketing and sales and which decisions to make based on previous data and based on benchmarks.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we're hoping that that's the way the industry goes. I mean, obviously, if it goes that direction, it's going to be really good for us too, and you. All right. So my last question, Emir, we like to humanize all of our guests here. We want to talk a little bit about, not just Hockeystack and attribution, but, we know that you and your co-founders are Turkish. And, when we talked to Lars from Dream Data, we asked Lars, when you're in Denmark, when somebody comes to Denmark, what should they do? So same question to you, Emir. If somebody were to go out to Turkey, what are some of the key things that they should be seeing and doing to really get the right flavor of Turkey?
So in Turkey, I'm from Istanbul, which is like people see it as the capital. It's not actually the capital, but it's the most popular like tourist destination. If you go to Istanbul, you should go to a couple neighborhoods close to the water. I'm not going to say the names because no one going to understand. But if you go to Istanbul, you should go to those neighborhoods close to water. It's really good and it's really like peaceful. Another city is Bodrum, where most tourists, Americans, Russians, every other country. Like if you go there, you would probably, it's like New York where nobody speaks Turkish, everyone speaks English. It's a very popular destination as well. Those two. And like we are all based in San Francisco right now. If you come to San Francisco, visit us in South Beach, visit our office, come say hi.
All right. Awesome. Awesome. Well, I always like to close these out with a little bit of a recap of some of the things that I took away from our conversation. One of the first things that I took away pretty early on is don't be afraid to pivot your organization. I mean, Hockeystack has gone through multiple different iterations and pivots to become what it is today. Super important to keep an eye on different solutions that your product might be able to solve for that you didn't realize at the beginning. Make it easy for people to find your content, especially your historical content. This one, I literally just had this exact same thing. I was looking for content from somebody on LinkedIn, and I had to go like sift through their entire post history. It's so difficult to do. So if your content is that valuable, make it easy for people to find. And you use a term, particularly rabbit hole, that I think is really interesting. If you can create rabbit holes for people to get kind of lost in your content, people will do that. So make it easy for people to get lost in your content and go down those rabbit holes. I love that one.
Exactly.
Another one here is that attribution at its core. It looks at the entire funnel. It looks at both marketing and sales. And it's all about understanding the journey that somebody takes on their path from lead all the way through to becoming a deal and a customer. Another one later on here is that particularly related to your one of your innovations here is that attribution is really, really valuable as intent signals. You've got some really rich first-party intent right there in your attribution platform. Let's use it.
And also to that point, one thing that I would love to mention is for signal-based selling, if you are, say you're an enterprise, and if you're going to run like a play for signal-based selling, it's very, very difficult to do that versus a startup because the volume of first-party data that you have is incredibly more than a startup. And most people are like, because it's still new, most people that are evangelizing it, they're working at startups and their playbooks are not going to work for an enterprise if you want to run some sort of play like that for your outbound, which I think is going to be the feature for outbound as well, especially on the enterprise level, because if you have 55 SDRs, if they're just like sending the same emails to everyone else, and if they want to personalize, if they're just going to spend hours on personalizing emails, it's not going to work as well, because I don't care what I said in this interview in a cold email selling me an API platform. But if you tell me, like, I checked out your content and this is why it matters to me, it's a better message than I listened to your podcast. You said this is our API platform. So for an enterprise, without a platform like Hockeystack or any platform that's like showing you these are the most important pages of like first party signals, rather than like looking at all the signals, it's not going to work. It's not going to be efficient for you. So even though you can like do it with Google Analytics as well, or like just looking at pricing page views, it's still not the same, because a platform like Hockeystack would show you if that page or if that signal matters and why.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. It's not all signals have the same value, right? And it's cutting through the noise to find the signals that actually have value. Yeah. Absolutely. And then the last one that I wanted to touch on real quick here that you mentioned that I love as well is just that attribution should be used to get marketing closer to sales. instead of driving a wedge in creating a competitive environment between marketing and sales, fighting over credit. I've been harping on that forever and totally agree on that one. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, Emir, I wanted to thank you so much for joining the podcast today. Really appreciate you, sharing your history about how Hockeystack came to be, sharing your thoughts on attribution, where it is now and where it's going. So, thank you so much for joining. And we're looking forward to partnering with Hockeystack in the future and working with you guys. So, thanks for joining.
Drew, thank you so much for having me on. This was really fun. Yeah, excited to see the full version.
Thank you for listening. Like, subscribe, give us a 5-star review, and connect with me on LinkedIn and let me know there if you'd like access to our private group where we keep these conversations going.